The conversion of Iraqi tribes to Shi'ism. The purpose of this presentation is to show how two of the gunpowder empires, the Sunni Ottoman Empire and the Shia Safavid Empire, influenced the conversion of Sunni Arab tribes to Shi'ism. Through the use of maps and pictures, I will show how Iraq became Shia-dominated and how modern-day Iraq has been influenced by its past under the Ottoman Empire and the Safavid Empire. As you can see from this picture, modern-day Iraq is primarily Shia. An estimated 60 to 65% of Iraqis consider themselves Shia Muslims. In comparison, an estimated 32 to 37% of Iraqis consider themselves Sunni Muslims. Although Shia Muslims make up the majority of Iraq's population, for most of Iraq's modern history, Iraq was controlled by Sunni presidents. From 1958 until the end of Saddam Hussein's rule in 2003, all the presidents of Iraq were Sunni Muslims. Following the invasion of Iraq in 2003, violence between Iraqi Shia and Sunni Muslims increased. By 2007, the United States National Intelligence Estimate described Iraq as being in a state of civil war. It is estimated that thousands of Iraqis were killed and over 4 million Iraqis were displaced during this violence. Due to the increased importance of religious sects in Iraqi politics, it's important to ask when, how, and why did Iraq become predominantly Shia? In order to understand the prominence of Shi'ism in Iraq, it's important to understand Iraq's history. From 1534 to 1917, Iraq was under the control of the Ottoman Empire. It was during Ottoman rule, specifically between the 18th and 20th centuries, that the majority of tribal conversions to Shi'ism took place. After Iraq came under the possession of the Ottoman Empire in the 16th century, Iraq's close proximity to the Safavid Empire made it a battleground for wars between the two empires. The rivalry between the two empires increased when the Sunni Ottoman Empire declared the Shia Safavid Empire to be heretics. This rivalry culminated with the Ottoman Safavid War from 1623 to 1639 over the possession of Iraq. Distracted by wars with the Habsburg monarchy, the Ottoman Empire was not able to retain control over Iraq. As a result, the Safavid Empire controlled Iraq from 1622 to 1638. This can be seen as the beginning of Shia influence over Iraq. On May 17, 1639, the Ottoman Empire and the Safavid Empire signed the Treaty of Zohab in order to end the Ottoman-Safavid War. As a result, the Ottoman Empire regained control of Iraq. While the Ottoman Empire officially controlled Iraq, nomadic Arab tribes were crucial to the social and political running of Iraq. The weak, centralized government of the Ottoman Empire led to Iraqi tribes acting as mini-states. These tribes worked to resolve disputes over territory and social problems, as well as to distribute resources amongst themselves. These nomadic Arab tribes were descended from Arabian tribes who settled in Iraq. As a result, they retained characteristics of Arabian tribes, including being Sunni. Their livelihood was dependent on animal husbandry and ultimately, these Arab tribes would be introduced to Shi'ism through contact with the Iraqi towns of Najaf and Karbala. Najaf and Karbala are among the holiest places in Shia Islam. Najaf contains the tomb of Ali ibn Abu Talib, the cousin and son-in-law of Muhammad, as well as the first Imam of Shia Islam. According to Shia tradition, Karbala is holy because it was there that Ali's son and the second Imam, Hussein, was martyred. Today, Najaf and Karbala are the centers of Shia learning. However, during the 18th century, Najaf and Karbala laid in ruins. During this time, the Safavid Empire controlled the greatest Shia learning center, Isfahan. In the 18th century, the nomadic Arab tribes used Najaf and Karbala as a trading center. In 1831, the Ottoman Empire made attempts to settle these tribes in Najaf and Karbala in order to centralize their government. However, the nomadic tribes were not the only inhabitants of the town. Following the Sunni Afghan invasion of Iran in 1722 and Nader Shah's expropriation of funds meant for the Shia clergy, a large number of Shia clergy immigrated from Isfahan to Karbala and Najaf. As a result, Karbala and Najaf became the new centers of Shia learning. With the Shia clerics and the nomadic tribes both settled in Najaf and Karbala, a unique set of events that would lead to the conversions had taken place. Both groups had a lot to gain through the conversion. For the Shia clerics, the conversions would be a way to bolster their social standing in a new city. The Shia clerics were dependent on pilgrimages to Shia holy sites for their income. An increase in pilgrims would mean an increase in revenues. The Shia clerics also saw conversion as a way to undermine the Sunni Wahhabists who had begun to sack Najaf and Karbala. As the attacks on Najaf and Karbala increased, so did the clerics. For the nomadic tribes, conversion was a form of protest against the Sunni government as well as a new social identity. It's been theorized that the breakdown of tribal relations led to a large number of conversions. Following their settling, nomadic tribes were no longer linked to their history as travelers and tribesmen. Shi'ism filled the social responsibilities that were abandoned with settlement. Instead of sheikhs settling disputes, settled tribes looked to clerics to resolve problems. This theory makes sense considering that the unsettled tribes of Iraq remain Sunni even today. In 1869, the Baghdadi Sunni alim Ibrahim al-Haradi compiled a list of geographically diverse tribes that converted to Shi'ism. The list includes the tribes of Zubayd, Bani Lam, and Abu Muhammad. Al-Haradi's list is significant because other independent sources have confirmed the list. Al-Haradi's list also brings up two significant points, those being the splitting up of tribes along sectarian lines as well as the relatively late conversions of the tribes. The Shia clerics' attempts to convert the newly settled tribes had the unintended effect of splitting tribes by sectarian lines. Al-Haradi's list includes the Montefique Confederation. However, not all the members of the Montefique Confederation converted. The sheikhs of the Sadoun family remained Sunni. The Montefique Confederation is one example out of many tribes who remain split along sectarian lines. It's clear that sectarian divisions are not new to Iraq. Al-Haradi's list is also significant for the dates it lists. Al-Haradi wrote that many of the tribes who arrived in Iraq during the 18th century converted the following century. These included the Shaman and Bani Tamim. However, Iraq's older confederations, including the Montefique and Zubayd, converted to Shi'ism from the late 18th century onward. This coincides with the time of their settlement as well as the Wahhabist attacks on Najaf and Karbala, suggesting that the incidents were strongly related to their conversions. The conversions of nomadic Iraqi tribes to Shi'ism is the direct result of their contact with the Ottoman and Safavid empires. The Ottoman Empire's policy of resettling nomadic tribes led the tribes to two of Shia Islam centers, Najaf and Karbala. It was here in Najaf and Karbala that the tribes would meet with Shia clerics who had immigrated from the Safavid Empire. The conversions had both intended and unintended consequences. The Shia clerics helped Iraq become predominantly Shia, and Najaf and Karbala became the centers of Shia learning. The settled tribes were also able to fill important social roles that had been abandoned during settlement. However, as a result of the conversions, tribes not fully converted were divided among sectarian lines, a theme that carries on to modern-day Iraq. The conversions would also influence Iraq's future. After the Ottoman Empire, Shia Iraqis strongly opposed British rule, and Najaf became a center of religious and political reason. Its modern Iraq has been influenced by its past. Sectarian divisions exist today, and modern Iraq and Iran are still united by Shia Islam.